Shona and David Platt are set to receive a critical update in Coronation Street just before their deeply emotional standalone episode airs later this week. As they navigate an already intense storyline, the couple are left facing distressing news that will test their strength. In recent episodes, the pair discovered that Shona was expecting a baby, bringing a mix of excitement and nerves. However, in the latest installment, released early on streaming platforms, the situation takes a worrying turn when they are told that their unborn child may have serious medical complications. The episode opens with David being confronted by Kit Green after their uncomfortable double date with Sarah. Kit accuses David of making sarcastic remarks about his relationship, but David refuses to apologize and brushes past him. The situation escalates quickly, leading to David being taken into custody. Because of this unexpected arrest, David is unable to accompany Shona to her important hospital appointment. Stepping in to help, Sarah offers to drive Shona instead. Meanwhile, David desperately tries to convince Kit to let him go so he can attend the scan. Eventually, Kit softens and agrees to take him to the hospital himself. At the clinic, Shona and David share a tender moment as they watch their baby on the ultrasound screen. Their happiness is short-lived, though, when the sonographer identifies something unusual, a concerning mass visible on the baby's neck. The revelation leaves them both stunned and struggling to process what they've just heard. Following the scan, Shona is quickly referred to a specialist consultant. The couple remain in shock, trying to grasp the seriousness of the situation. Later, Shona receives a message confirming another appointment for the very next day, and the urgency of it all leaves her feeling uneasy and anxious. These developments set the stage for a special episode airing midweek, focusing entirely on Shona and David as they come to terms with the heartbreaking update. The episode will explore their emotional responses in depth, offering insight into how each of them is coping. Shona is shown battling her thoughts, trying to understand and accept the reality of what's happening. At the same time, she begins to question David's seemingly calm attitude, which creates tension between them. However, it soon becomes clear that David's composure is only an act. Beneath the surface, he is just as overwhelmed and frightened as Shona, but he chooses to hide his pain in order to support her. When he is alone, his vulnerability becomes evident, revealing the emotional toll the situation is taking on him as well. Todd is left completely shaken in Coronation Street when Theo suddenly reappears during a private and highly sensitive conversation with Sarah. This ongoing abuse storyline has become one of the most intense, gripping, and emotionally draining plots on the show right now, and despite how uncomfortable it can be to watch, it's impossible to look away, especially now that Theo is on the verge of being fully exposed for who he truly is, a manipulative, violent, and controlling individual. With George now aware of Theo's true nature, and Todd's close friends, including Sarah and Summer, firmly by his side, there is a growing determination to help Todd break free from the terrifying situation he's trapped in. That said, things are beginning to unravel for Theo. Sarah has successfully convinced Gary that Todd is suffering abuse, which puts Theo in an increasingly vulnerable position. As a result, he risks losing not only his closest ally, but also his job and sense of stability. With tensions rising and threats looming, Theo begins to feel cornered, as though everything is slipping through his fingers. Faced with the possibility of consequences catching up with him, he decides to make a desperate plan to leave Weatherfield behind. However, he has no intention of going alone. In a deeply disturbing twist, Theo forces Todd into a marriage against his will, ensuring that Todd is legally tied to him. After securing that control, Theo arranges a new job opportunity in Belfast, intending to start over and take Todd with him. His plan is to isolate Todd completely, trapping him in a cycle of control and abuse with no easy way out. Standing in the way of this plan are the people who genuinely care about Todd. George, sensing the danger Todd is in, secretly provides him with an emergency bag filled with essentials in case he ever needs to escape quickly. Unfortunately, Theo discovers the bag before Todd can use it. He then pressures Todd into confronting his friends publicly, forcing him to lash out at them in a painful and humiliating scene. During the confrontation at the bistro, Todd turns on those who are trying to help him, delivering harsh words and accusations. Sarah is among those targeted, as Theo manipulates the situation and encourages Todd to push everyone away. When Theo claims that none of them truly care about Todd, Sarah firmly pushes back, insisting that they are his real support system and would never harm him the way Theo does. In response, Todd, clearly under pressure, snaps at Sarah with cutting remarks about her personal life. Despite the hurtful comments, Sarah recognizes that these words are not coming from Todd's true self, but are instead the result of Theo's influence. She refuses to accept that this is who Todd really is. Even after being insulted, Sarah remains determined to help her friend. She refuses to abandon him, no matter how difficult things become. However, her persistence may place Todd in even greater danger. In upcoming scenes, Sarah makes one final attempt to reach Todd and convince him to leave his abusive partner. Outside the flat, she carefully checks that Theo is gone before asking Todd to let her in. Hesitant but desperate, Todd allows her inside after covering the doorbell camera to avoid being caught. As Sarah questions him about why he has been ignoring George's messages, the tension builds rapidly. Suddenly, the sound of Theo returning sends panic through the room. With danger closing in, Todd and Sarah are left facing a terrifying situation, one that could have serious consequences. Coronation Street sees Sam Blakeman deeply shaken after receiving a chilling threat connected to Will and Megan in an early released episode. Sam has been left frightened following a disturbing warning from Will Driscoll. He was the one who ultimately revealed that Megan Walsh had been grooming his classmate, but despite bringing the truth to light, life has not become any easier for him since the revelation. For weeks, Sam had been trying to expose Megan after growing suspicious about her behavior with Will. However, every time he got close to speaking out, the teacher intimidated him into staying silent, leaving him scared and isolated. Eventually, Sam found the courage to share everything he knew with Leanne, Toya, and Will's stepmother, Eva. Taking his claims seriously, the three women wasted no time and reported the situation to the authorities, hoping justice would follow. Unfortunately, the investigation has not progressed as they had hoped. The police, along with Will's family, have struggled to gather solid proof against Megan. Matters became even more complicated after she claimed to have lost her baby, which shifted sympathy in her favor and weakened the case against her. At the same time, Sam's mental state has been deteriorating. He has grown increasingly anxious and suspicious, even convincing himself that Daniel might somehow be involved with Megan and had tampered with his phone. In a moment of panic, Sam disposed of his device, believing it could no longer be trusted. During a tense moment at the cabin, Leanne and Toya clashed over how best to support Sam and whether he needed counseling. Their argument took place in public, leaving Sam feeling embarrassed and exposed. Unable to cope with the situation, he stormed out, overwhelmed by their discussion about his personal struggles. Later on at the bistro, Will approached Sam and appeared to offer an apology. Encouraged by Leanne and Toya, Sam hesitantly accepted the gesture and shook his hand, hoping it might signal an end to the tension between them. However, the situation takes a far darker turn later that evening. While at home, Sam answers a phone call only to hear Will's voice on the other end. Dropping any pretense of remorse, Will reveals that his apology was insincere and delivers a chilling threat, warning Sam that he should be careful because he intends to come after him. Terrified, Sam drops the phone, clearly shaken by the encounter. Looking ahead, upcoming scenes reveal that Sam will confront Will once again, attempting to stand his ground and show that he will not be intimidated any longer. However, Will quickly turns the situation around to his advantage. Returning home, Will tells Eva and his grandmother Maggie that Sam has been spreading false accusations about him, painting himself as the victim. His claims spark tension, prompting Eva to confront Leanne and Toya at the bistro. This confrontation creates a divide between the three women, marking the first major fallout between them since the truth about Megan and Will began to emerge. As the drama intensifies, the question remains whether Sam will be able to make others believe him again and finally bring the truth to light. Coronation Street airs on weekday evenings and is also available for streaming online.